Welcome to the Business Finance Bulletin, episode 137. Welcome again to the latest Business Finance Bulletin with me, Rob Warlow from Business Loan Services. In this bulletin, small businesses' appetite to borrow, support from the British Business Bank for an asset finance provider, and have you ever lost a cheque? Well, let's start this bulletin by taking a look at the appetite that small business owners have when it comes to borrowing money and their relationships generally with banks. Now, every quarter there's an excellent, a very in-depth survey that has been carried out by an independent body called the SME Finance Monitor Team. And I say every quarter they interview about 5,000 small business owners just to have a look at how they are raising money and dealing with banks. And the latest quarterly report, as at the end of June 2016, has just come out. And as ever, some interesting findings. Let's start have a look first of all about the demand for finance. Now, one thing this team look at is to try and define those businesses who have no intention of borrowing at all. Now, the SME Finance Monitor Team call these permanent non-borrowers. Now, these are businesses who, when asked, have said they've never borrowed money over the last 5 years and have no intention to going forward. Well, of the 5,000 business owners surveyed, 46% of them classify themselves as permanent non-borrowers. Yes, that's nearly half of the small business owners say they have no intention to borrow money. And that percentage has been increasing over time. And in fact, the same period to 2012, that figure is 34%. So you can see there is a gradual increase to businesses becoming self-funding. Now, what about over shorter period? Well, the team also look at business owners who have said they've not borrowed over the last 12 months and have no intention to borrow going forward. And the team classify these as happy non-seekers of finance. How many of those business owners classify themselves as happy non-seekers? 81%. Yes, over 80% of business owners saying they have no intention to borrow over the last 12 months or going forward. And that percentage has also been increasing as well. And in fact, in 2012, the figure stood at 68%. So you can see there's a gradual increase there. So this whole demand for finance is very muted amongst business owners generally. It's very, very light when it comes to borrowing. And in fact, 80% of the business owners surveyed said that their growth plans are very much linked to can they afford to fund it themselves, i.e. don't resort to borrowing. Now, looking at the businesses that have borrowed, of the business owners surveyed, 6% of them said that they have applied for an overdraft or a loan over the last 12 months. Yeah, just 6%. The success rate, well, here goes a little bit counter to what everybody thinks. 81% of them said, yes, we got what we wanted. So over 80% of the business owners getting what they requested from their lenders. Looking generally about confidence levels, well, surprisingly, over 68% of the business owners said they see no major barriers to growth. There's nothing holding them back. Yep, not even Brexit. So small business owners are feeling quite confident going forward. And in fact, 81% of the business owners said they are currently in profit, which again is a substantial increase over what they've seen from this report over the last few years. So overall, quite buoyant, good confidence levels, business owners being very cautious when it comes to borrowing money, and more businesses saying, I want to self-fund my growth. I've mentioned in previous bulletins how the British Business Bank has been supporting alternative finance providers with funds in order to on-lend to small business owners. Well, the British Business Bank has just revealed that it's made another investment of £18 million into an asset finance provider. Now, the British Business Bank is an umbrella organisation run by the government, which is the home to all of the government's finance support schemes. And the British Business Bank has just announced that it's provided support totalling £18 million to Patura Asset Finance, which is based up in the northwest. Now, Patura, they are a traditional asset finance provider supporting construction, manufacturers, waste recycling, anything that needs hard assets. Now, of the £18 million that the British Business Bank has put in, £15 million is for matched funding. So for every pound that Petura put in, the British Business Bank will match it with another pound. And also there's £3 million worth of expansion capital being given to the company as well. So overall, they estimate that there will be an additional £36 million worth of funding lines that Petura will be able to put out to the small business market. So a great example there about how the government is supporting alternative finance providers with additional capital. So if you want to know more about Petura and how they operate, and if they can provide you with an asset finance facility, just go along to their website, which is spelled PRAETURA.com, PeturaAF.com. So great business there. Have a look at them if you're looking for some asset finance facilities. Now, I don't know about you, but when somebody pays me by cheque, my heart sinks. I thought, oh no, here I've got to go and make a special journey to the bank in order to pay this in. And as a result, my cheques can sometimes hang around. Now, the vast majority of our payments, luckily, are made online, but occasionally we do get a cheque. And I have the habit of putting the cheque to one side. Well, Barclays has just come out with a rather quirky survey that had a look at this issue of how many small business owners actually lose a cheque or forget to pay it in. How many of you putting your hands up? I know I can be guilty of that sometimes. And in fact, Barclays reckon that of the small business owners they surveyed, over £550 million worth of cheques are either lost or business owners forget to pay them in. It's £550 million of cash sitting there in drawers or gone accidentally into the bin and not in your bank account. And that's dreadful. It just shows how inefficient we are when it comes to handling paper and how used we are now to having online payments. They reckon the average cheque size is about £740. But unfortunately, if you're a guy listening to this, guys, we are the worst. We are the ones who will most often lose a cheque or forget to pay it in. And the average size for us guys who are losing cheques, the cheque is about £925 on average, they reckon. So not small amounts. And in fact, 20% of business owners who participated in the survey say they do lose cheques at least once a week. Once a week! Well, what's the options here? Well, of course, the first thing is to make sure that on your invoices you include the option with all your bank details for people to pay online. It avoids clearing times and it just makes sure that everything is in your bank account on time. The other thing, of course, is just to make sure your office is really tidy and make it a habit. Stick the cheque into your paying book to make sure you get it there. And one thing that Barclays are still piloting is a cheque imaging process. Now, what it is on the phone or your tablet, you can get a special app. You merely just take a photograph of your cheque, you email it via the app to the bank, and they will then credit your bank account strictly off the image. You don't have to go to the bank. Now, so far, 57,000 customers have been involved in this pilot, and the bank reckon that about up to £3 million so far has been paid in via this pilot scheme. So if you do receive a lot of cheques and you are in habit of losing them and you want to take part in the pilot, just go along and ask your bank, stick your hand up, and if you're banking with Barclays, and say you'd like to have a go at this because I'm not very good at handling paperwork. And in fact, perhaps that's the next thing I should be doing as well. Well, that's it for this bulletin. As ever, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and a share. It all helps. If you're watching on the YouTube version, don't forget you can get the podcast version available on iTunes, SoundCloud and Stitcher. Just go along to those channels and search for a Business Finance Bulletin. And if you're listening on the podcast version, check out my YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and search for Rob Warlow, and there you'll find us. So thanks very much for watching. Look forward to being with you again next time. Have a great, successful and profitable week. Bye-bye now.